Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for signing up and joining this workshop today. I'm sure it's going to be super interesting and useful. Tony is amazing at what he does, so we're very lucky to have him with us today. So just to give you a little bit of context for people who haven't joined a workshop with us before, this is hosted by Uprise Academy, and we exist to get the best of our generation understanding what our purpose is and taking bold action towards it so that we can create more remarkable careers and lives worth telling stories about. Apologies to anyone that's joined multiple workshops and heard me say that multiple times. But yeah, so our workshop today is all about personal and professional branding. And we're very lucky to be joined by Tony Jimeno, who's going to be leading the workshop today. Tony is an inbound marketing specialist who helps professionals and recruiters build their professional brand on LinkedIn to achieve their goals, whether it's more visibility, getting more clients, candidates, or making a change in their career. He also founded Talent Clue, which is a leading recruitment software platform in Spain as well. So Tony, huge thank you for leading the workshop today. Before I hand over, just letting a few more people in. Before I hand over, there's a couple of housekeeping things. So if you have any questions at any point in the workshop, please feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll either answer them as we're going along or we can save them to the end as well. Also feel free to unmute yourselves and just shout if you're feeling brave. We'd love you to have your cameras on if you can, but obviously that's totally up to you. We would love to see your faces. There are going to be a few interactive activities as well, one where you'll be put into breakout rooms, which is always a really great chance to connect with other people who are here for the same reason as you. So yeah, feel free to make connection, share your contact details if you have a good connection with anyone. And yeah, that's it really. So I think without further ado, Tony, over to you.
Okay, fantastic. Well, hello everyone, and good morning, good afternoon, good night, because I see people from all over. And what's can I say? Like, please, if you have any questions during the presentation, because obviously it's a really broad topic to just like to discuss in within 1 hour, and I try to do like some exercises that can be valid for any kind of goal you can have. So like if you want me like to clarify some point or you want me to explain an example, please like ask in the chat, and then at the end or during the chat, like I'll reply to this. So let's start. I'll be sharing my screen right now. Yeah. I think everybody now is seeing a screen. So just to introduce myself, why I'm here and why I'm explaining all of this. So just like 2 minutes, I started like a company like back in 2013, and the way we're doing marketing, it was we try to do like the normal marketing, like posting ads or reaching to, in our case, HR directors. What happens, like we were a software and we're pretty like one of the first softwares in the recruitment industry. So the typical marketing activities didn't work really well. So what we started doing is like we found out about inbound marketing, which was starting in US. Already started, a lot of companies were applying it, and we started applying just inbound marketing and inbound sales strategies in order to grow. And we did it. Like we had over 400 companies, like medium-sized companies and big companies. And we were like the first HubSpot success case, and we built our brand by generating content and just adding value to who will be our customers, not just trying to sell it, not adding value. And then like with all of this, helping companies to attract talent, we realized that companies apply marketing and sales tactics like to generate customers and to make profit and revenues. But when we talk about recruitment, when we talk about attracting talent, we don't use these techniques. So we created a methodology, and it's called inbound recruiting methodology, that we see the same. Like we see that or a place to work. So we are not longer posting just job ads. We're posting like landing pages, or the same with this event could be a job ad. So we created a methodology that applies marketing techniques into recruitment. And now like I decided to leave my company there just to pursue this. And now I do like trainings to recruiters, to companies in order how to build their brands, their employer brands, in order to attract people who matches their culture. And also I help like professionals within companies or individuals, maybe like yourselves, to create their own professional brand, mostly a lot in LinkedIn as well, because I think LinkedIn is a really good platform. And today I will be sharing with you like some exercises that can help you out to create your brand and have like a content strategy as well. So what is personal brand or professional brand, as someone was asking me? So I would say like professional brand is whatever you're perceived or whatever perception people have about you as a professional. So either you are working to have one, or you are not working towards it or doing anything at all, you already have a professional brand. Because some people will see you, like your colleagues will have a perception of you before internet, where your peers will have a like, oh, this is a good professional, but professional, he's good doing this, he's good doing that. That's your professional brand. And now you can work it. And the personal brand will be like, what are you doing with your life? Like probably most of you have Instagram and you are posting some pictures with a strategy behind. Maybe you don't know it, or maybe you do, like with conscience, but you are trying to create a brand of yourself, like posting certain stuff, like, oh, I like climbing mountains, I like doing this, I like doing that. And that's like generating content and making like signals that my brand is like this. Today, we'll talk more about the professional brand, because I think that like the personal brand, it's really related to the professional, because at the end you are the same person. So for me, like one of the conclusions you will see is like you have to be authentic. It's super difficult to be one person at your job or your profession, another one with your friends and with your family. At the end, like you are lying in one place. So for me, it's the same. Like at the end, it's like you will choose different channels and you will have a value proposition. Usually you don't have a value proposition for your friends. You have more value proposition for your potential customers. And that's what we will see. And why is this important? Because right now, a lot of people, like the first thing they're gonna do in the professional world will be checking you out. They're gonna go to LinkedIn and they're gonna look at you. And the same way before the CVs had a lot of weight on opportunities, I think CVs right now, I wouldn't dare to say they are secondary, but I haven't done a CV for the last 4 years because I generate my own business and I do it everything mostly on LinkedIn or my own website. So I think right now, all we have an opportunity, the same as companies can build a brand, we have an opportunity to build our brand. And it's important because, as I said, like either you're working into it or not, you already have a brand. So if I come to your LinkedIn profile and I see a profile that doesn't explain anything, I don't see that much information, I have a perception about you as a professional. And maybe you are amazing, you're super bright, like you are the best, but since you are not communicating it, I don't know. And that's what I perceive. So that's why it's important. First, be good at whatever you do, but second, be important to generate this brand in order to generate trust and have more opportunities. But I think that's what you want. So what are the first steps to create a personal brand? So the first step is first is like, what's your goal? What is your professional goal? What do you want? Do you want to change careers? Where do you want to start working? Do you want to start your own business as a freelancer, as a consultant, or as a whatever? And that can be the same for if you're starting a company. That before in the comments, I see somebody that was saying that in comments that they want to launch their own company. But or you are looking for a new job, or you are looking to establish yourself as a leader in your sector. You want to start doing conferences, or you're a teacher that you want to. Whatever is your goal, first you have to have really clear what's your goal, because then with your brand, it's like what you want to achieve. So that will be like the first question. We'll stop and do this. Second is, who is your buyer persona? At the end, like who has to hire you, buy from you, interact with you. You cannot aim to reach everybody. No, like for me, it's everybody. No, you have certain customers. Then you can reach more of this, but you will have certain customers. So for the sake of the exercise, I will think, okay, who is my buyer persona? Okay, if I want to change careers and I start working in the digital sector or in marketing companies or in a marketing agency, there will be like the directors of these marketing agencies. I will be talking to them. If my customers are other freelancers that want to establish their professional brand, my persona is a freelance that want to start a business or they are already using LinkedIn. So I have to have really clear who is my buyer persona, who I talk to, okay? And third, now it's like to reflect on ourselves, is like, okay, what's your value proposition? What makes you unique as a professional? What makes you different, you from the rest of people that is doing the same as you? So that will be like the first three questions. Either we start a business or we start like a personal or professional brand. We need to answer those. So I will give you now, like if you want, 5 minutes, and you can answer those questions, because then like we'll be sharing between each other. We'll make smaller groups, but I want you to reflect on to that. As like, what's my professional goal? Who is my buyer persona, and what makes you unique in the personal way, if you are building just your personal, or in the professional. As a professional, what makes you unique? What is like something that you have and nobody else have? Maybe it's like in my case, I combine my expertise in digital marketing, inbound sales with recruitment. So that makes me special. And also so let's start thinking about what makes you unique, because at the end, if you don't know it, people won't know it, like if you are not aware of that. So I'll give you like a couple minutes just to yourself like answer those questions, and then we'll be doing like small groups to share it and see how it goes.
Great, I'll put a timer on for 5 minutes, and I'll let you know when we've got just a minute left.
So imagine like because I get some questions, like if you're stuck with the number 3. So if you imagine that you want to get hired with a company, the answer will be like, why this company should hire you and nobody else? Like, or imagine that you are in front of a customer that wants to buy your services. Okay, what you tell them to trust you and to hire you instead of someone else. So this is the kind of stuff. Or if you don't know about this, you can ask, not today, but you can ask colleagues, or you can ask people that you work with. Okay, what do you think I'm good? What do you think I'm special at? Because sometimes we are not aware of this kind of stuff, but our colleagues or peers or our friends, even our friends, like can tell us things that we can improve and can tell us things that they were brilliant. And maybe we never had this conversation, but they already know. So if you are working with someone already, or you're working in a company and you don't know really what is your value proposition or what makes you special or unique, I would suggest like to do this exercise, like to ask your colleagues, like, hey, what do you think I'm good at? What do you think I'm really good or really special about what I do? Why you are working with me and you are enjoying working with me? And they will tell you, and or like even your boss, if you have a boss, or your customers if you already have customers. So it's good that if you already have customers, to go and ask them, hey, why you buy from us? Why you trust me? Why I add you value as a professional? I hope I answer, or I give you like a lot of input that maybe like 3 minutes won't be like enough to answer all of this. And just like reading some questions, and it's important when you say what is your value proposition and why. Like, I'm positive. Why is that relevant for your buyer persona? Why being positive is something that your buyer persona will be interested. So always reflect on that. Your value proposition have to be something that your buyer persona cares as well. So really related to the job or the goal that you have. And in the future, you can have different values, different buyer personas. So sometimes companies have like, oh, I have the buyer persona big company, I have the buyer persona medium-sized company, and their needs or my value proposition will be different. So imagine I'll keep talking, but you do the exercise. Huh? I'll imagine like when a person who sells a car, the car is the same, but if a family comes, probably the guy will be showing the car like, oh, there's a lot of space, it's really safe, here you put the chairs for the children. But if somebody young came and asked for the car, he will explain different stuff. So he will change the value proposition depending on who he's talking to. But the car, the product, yourself, you are the same, but you just can adapt your value proposition depending on to who you are talking to. That's why it's important to have it really specific, your buyer persona and your value proposition, in order to be specific and to be to have an impact. Because if not, we try to do a general message, and then general messages are for no one. Beatrice asked me, what is that buyer persona means that they value on buying or investing their money in? Yes, but also it should be someone that you are interested into doing business as well. Because some probably now people is buying my services, but I don't like imagine like people asking me for consultancy services, and they are individuals, and I don't want to go to individuals. I want to be hired for bigger companies. So my buyer persona, all my efforts, they won't go to focus on my message for the individual persons, because I don't want more customers like that. I want customers like bigger companies. So what I want to do is to create my value proposition and to try to get to understand why companies will hire someone like me and what they value in order to create my value proposition. Okay. So Kari, what do you think if we do groups of 3 so you can share and let's see if how is like sharing, okay, what's your goal, what is your buyer persona, what's your value proposition, to see how clear you can explain it and if the others understand it, in order to give each other feedback. I think that would be like super interesting to do, because imagine that you have your buyer persona, like your colleagues that you will be randomly assigned are your colleagues. How do you explain what you do? How do you explain your value proposition? What makes you unique? And see like if that's clear for them. Okay, and when you're listening, try to be like that buyer persona that the other person is telling you. So like you can have like direct feedback, and I think it's really more regarding just like reading 1 or 2 cases.
Yeah, perfect. So I will put everyone into breakout rooms of about 3 people. And yeah, go ahead and explain your answers to your questions, and yeah, see if you can explain it to everyone in a really clear way. So I
think we'll give 3 minutes each.
Yeah, no, so you have 9
minutes in total. So yeah. Try to organize yourself, but try to do this, and so everybody has the chance like to explain this in a minute and have feedback and see if everything is clear.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Right. So you should get a prompt on your screen in a second to join a breakout room. So just hit join, and we will see you in about 9 minutes. And yeah, everyone should be coming back now.
Fantastic. Fantastic. How did it go? I hope like you enjoy it. Good. I hope you enjoy it. Like, was it easy to share with somebody else that doesn't know you? What's your value proposition? If you want to keep sharing in the chat what you learned from these 3 minutes or 9 minutes, that will be cool. And I will keep going with the presentation. So now at this point, obviously, as I said, this is like a really quick exercise. I will suggest you to do these questions also for the buyer persona. Will be interesting to interview some of the people that you think are your ideal customers in order to understand what they value, what they need, what are their problems, how they choose whenever they buy or hire someone. And let's not do it under our own assumptions, because that is when we are sometimes mistaken, because we try to know they will need this, but they don't exactly need this. So it's always good when you start a business to interview and do interviews with questions. If you put buyer persona on Google, there is a lot of information. If you put HubSpot have a lot of information about buyer personas and marketing strategies that can help you out to do this. So now let's see what's next. So I'll suggest, okay, write your name in Google, what appears. So that's will be probably your brand. Like whatever appears in Google, like if it's nothing or if a lot of results, that is already your brand, because that's this whole people is gonna look into you. Like some people, you will go directly to a specific social network like Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, but a lot of people still like they will put your name on Google, and we have to make sure that we know what appears there, and make sure that as well, like if we want to create a personal or a professional brand, we appear there and we appear in the way we want. Like if there are some results that we don't like, some picture we don't like with some content we don't like, we have to or erase it or to create new, or maybe we have to repurpose it. But we have to make sure that whenever we put our name in Google, like the things that they appear, we like it. And if we don't appear, like we can start generating content in order to be more visible. And then how do we build like this personal or professional brand? So I put an example of LinkedIn because for me right now in a professional way, it's the platform that can bring you the most opportunities. Like you can connect with everyone to do business, but also like the same applies to other social networks. You want to use it in Instagram or in your own personal website, like it's the same. Okay, so I'll put for the sake of LinkedIn. So what I will say is like, first, you have to have really clear what you do and be able to explain it. Who are you as a professional, and also like some of the services that you can offer and what's your value proposition. So I'll suggest like if you have LinkedIn, like here, that's the headline. That's what people see before they click to see your profile. So it's almost like the subject of an email that you will decide if you open it or not. So here's the same. So I'll suggest you to put your role or to put your title of whatever, and then also like the industry you are at, and then what makes you special. For me, like for instance, like you see like, oh, my specializations are employer branding, HR marketing, and professional branding. And then I'm consultant and trainer. And what makes me special is that I created this methodology. Obviously that's mine, and you have your own for sure. Like today you explained that. So you have to make sure that is clear in your LinkedIn, or if not, you can do some benchmarking. For the rest of the stuff that I'm gonna explain you, you can do some benchmarking. Like you have people that you think is doing it really well, what they explain, what content, what keywords they use. So in order to get inspiration of that, okay? And then like it comes the about. Like in LinkedIn, you have like this about section that lets you introduce yourself. That will be the same, like it's the bio in other network, in other social networks, or in your website is where you explain the first content that you explain when people are at your website. So the first thing we need to explain is like, what do you do? Like I have to see really clearly whenever I come to your profile, whenever I start talking to you, I need to see really clear what do you do, who you help, who is your buyer persona, and how you do it. What makes you special about how you do the stuff. So here I will say like some exercise to start writing this is if you were in front of a crowd, if a crowd that you have to explain who are you as a professional, what would you say? And maybe it's easier for you to explain it in just by talking, and then you can write it down. But the same stuff we don't. And some people when we start like a lot of people, what do they do is like here they talk in third person. Like whenever you're building your brand, never talk in third person because it's you who is talking. So I need to hear almost your voice when I'm reading your content. So always talking first person, and then it's like don't explain. Oh, I'm graduated in this university with 18 years of experience. No, that's not what people cares about. That's not why people will hire you, or that's not why people like will buy from you. They will buy from you because they really fast they see that you solve their problem. So that's why I put like these bullet points that for me is what I suggest you to make sure that when you explain your value proposition is clear. So first is like what you do, who you help, and how you do it in order to say, oh, I'm a company that I want to attract talent. Okay, this is the guy. How do you add value? So show the different ways you can add value, show the different ways you can help them out. And then it's like what makes you different. Sorry, like I hear like some noise in the background. I don't know if Katy, you can help me out to figure out who it is and meet them. And so how do you add value? All the different ways you can add value to your buyer persona, what makes you different, why they should contact you. And here you can, like, for instance, here I show you in my case, like some results that I got, some customers that I already work with, in order to people can rely more into me. And then in LinkedIn, I also just like to put contact information in this part as well, because if not, they have to be your contact in order to see the contact information. So in this about area, I will suggest you, if that's your goal, to put your website here, or to put your email, or to put your phone number if you want. So because then when people is not your contact can see this information, and then you can go into settings and make this part of the information public. But at the end, it's like this text can be used for LinkedIn, can be used for whenever you introduce yourself, and can be used for your website. Okay. What else? Experience. If you are an entrepreneur, if you are starting your own business, that I see that a lot of you are interested into that, I will create a position, and there I will explain your services as if were your website. At the end, it's like LinkedIn is not, or the experience part is not a checklist of things you have done. It's not your CV. It's a way to explain your professional path and why everything you have done makes you the best person to do whatever you want to do now. So what I will suggest is like check the whole experiences, the past experiences and the current experience, and make sure you're explaining everything you do and how you add value, not what you do specifically, not all the tasks, if not the results you are achieving or you achieved in past projects, what you were leading a team or not, but related to your goal. That's super important. Like all your profile should be focused on achieving your goal, not on explaining to the world what you've done in past jobs. If not, it's the same like I will do the same similarity. When you're looking for a girlfriend or boyfriend, you can explain your past in so many different ways. So here, and if you want a long relationship, probably you will omit, or you want to explain all the details of everything, and you will highlight everything that makes you like the perfect partner, and everything that you think is important in order to be more likable to that person. So here's the same. When you're explaining your past experiences on LinkedIn, in this case, you have to explain in this way. Okay, and then recommendations. If you already start working by your own, or you are changing careers, or whoever you work with, you can ask them recommendations, because we use recommendations all the time. When you go to book a hotel, you go to Booking and you check recommendations from people you don't know. When you go to buy something that is $10 on Amazon, you go and check the reviews. So for professionals, that as yourself, like a brand is important that you create your own content, but it's important that some people can say, hey, this guy is really good, he provides value, he's doing this. So I will suggest this in LinkedIn, but for your website as well, and you can use the same kind of testimonials or recommendations. Ask people that is your buyer persona or can help you to convince your buyer persona to recommend, and not recommend like, oh, Tony is really nice, blah, blah, blah. No, Tony helped me or add me value into doing this, and I recommend him or her because this. So always when we ask for recommendations, we have to have our goal in mind and our buyer persona in mind. So we want to convince them. So if they had like 1 minute to talk, what do you want them to tell them? So it's not a recommendation for yourself. It's a recommendation that have to prove your value to your buyer persona. Okay, that's important, because sometimes I see I have recommendations, but it's like I really enjoy working with him. That's not what the goal of this recommendation. Okay, and then once we have our profile, where when I say like we are already pretty, because obviously like we have to put ourselves pretty, then we can start generating visits to our profile and start like generating our brand through content. So what is important to know when we create content? What is the problems that our buyer persona have, and what are the benefits that they expect, what they expect in the mid-term, long-term to achieve. So we have to know all of this, because we want to address that problem. We solve one problem in order to put that person into that desired situation. But we need to know the problem and we need to know the desired situation. And around that, we will create content. Is that clear? So imagine like you here, I'm promising you, I'm addressing the problem that you want to start a company. Probably you don't know really well the steps to create a professional brand. So that's your problem because you want to start your own business. You want to change careers and find a new job within 3 months. So that's where you want to be. So when I start generating content, I always address all those problems. Here was super generic, so I couldn't do like super specific content. But if well, it was about more content or just changing careers or just like creating the professional brand for people within a company, that will be like super specific. And what content we can create. So what content people like and a lot like everywhere, but also in LinkedIn, motivational content, explain stuff about how you solve problems, how you find yourself the same problem that your buyer persona has, and how you reach to that position that your candidate persona, and telling them that you want to reach and you can reach with you to that desired situation. Teach them something, teach them, add them value of uh, how to have this benefit as well, how to solve problems. Just like add value, teach something. You know how to do the stuff you do. So some people say, I'm a painter. Yesterday, no, well, Monday I was in another workshop. I said, I'm a painter. I don't know how to like make myself know. So why don't you start teaching the people or explaining how you paint, how do you interpret what you're painting. So always be thinking about the stuff that your buyer persona wants to know. Or share your perspective. If you have like a unique perspective on things, or how the world should work, or how something should be, just share it, because I'm sure that a lot of people will be thinking the same, but a lot of people is not creating content, but you do. So that's the way you can generate your brand as well, by sharing your perspective. And here is important, like it's your opinion. Nobody's gonna judge you. It's not like a universal truth. It's your opinion. It's your perspective. So you can be wrong. It's okay, but it was my vision, and maybe next year I'm gonna change it. But right now, that's what I think, and with some people, and will think, oh, this guy, but whatever, because and you will see that there's not a lot of haters, and I'm sharing a lot of content, a lot of things that can be really sensitive, and people is not a hater, like, and because they see there's their face, their name, their professional brand there as well. So don't be afraid of that. Okay, when generating content, don't be afraid of that. Just share it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, like, because it's not something that's gonna last forever. It's like a post that lasts 3-4 days. If it doesn't work, or if it's not that good, whatever, like, just like share it and start generating the habit of creating content, or explain your success stories, like, or things you achieved with your customers, or things you achieved with the person you work with, or your previous company. Whatever is your goal, whatever is your buyer persona, I don't know your situation, but you can achieve things that can inspire people. Like, it's really related to motivational or lesson learned. Like, people like really want to emphasize, how do you say it? Feel I forget the word, like, feel this the same way that you did, like, I forgot about the word right now in English, but whatever. So you have to show that you are not perfect. You are not like, hey, I know I have everything figured out, because people cannot connect and cannot relate to you. You want people to relate to you, but also you can show them that you've done a failure, you are vulnerable, but now that you are achieved to that desired situation that your buyer persona wants to achieve. So, but you have to show them as well. This it's not that I know everything. I've been where you've been, and I show you, and I create content about this, and I show you how to go what I've been. But so it's been a hard path. So I am not perfect. So so this kind of stuff. Or also you can ask for advice, whatever you want to know about your buyer persona, or things you already know but you want people to interact with you. You can ask for advice there. Hey, do you know any tips to create my personal brand, blah, blah, blah? Or what is the best trick or advice you receive about creating your professional brand? That will be like content I can generate. And even though I do that, I can ask people, and people, oh, and so I generate my brand because I start these kind of conversations. Or you can comment on articles you read that you find interesting, or a video, but it's important you just don't share the article. It's important that you reflect on that and explain your vision about that article. Because what I want to know is not that you are a good creator of content, if not your ideas, because I want to hire you and I want to know how you think. Okay. And then also you can show projects you are doing, projects that you've done to show that you are really proud, but always adding value. Whenever I do workshops, I do trainings, I try to put like some bullet points about things we learn or things that other people, when they read the post, they say, oh, I'm learning. That person is adding me value. It's not just bragging. That's super important. Okay. I hope like for you just without a water, but I will recommend you like to start checking content, to start checking the feed, I start following people on LinkedIn or on Instagram that is doing the same as you do, like just to get ideas, because from one idea to another idea, you can start connecting. And with this list of things, oh, that's a success story. Maybe I can explain something like this. And you can start saving content on LinkedIn as well, and or following people that the same way you do in Twitter or in Instagram, on LinkedIn, you can follow them as well, not just connect. There's like a button that is like say more, and you can follow them. And so you can see their content without having them to accept you. And that's a good way to have a good feed in order to have better content. And my conclusions before we go to the questions is like, first, and super important, when you're creating a brand, you have to learn how to sell yourself. We are selling all the time. Not specifically like, oh, I'm selling, buy from me, but everything we do is selling. And your brand has to sell who are you, because as I said in the beginning, you can be the best, but if you don't communicate it, if you don't sell it, people won't know that. So you have to learn how to sell yourself. This is the first step, like creating a good LinkedIn, creating content. And so that's the first step. Or even for me, like right now I'm doing this workshop, and for you a way to get to know me, you didn't pay anything. And also for our Bryce Academy is a good way through my content, they find me. And so always I'm adding value, but always I'm selling myself. So second point, be authentic. That's the easiest. Because if you pretend to be someone, I have to pretend that I'm the expert. No, just be yourself and share your own perspective, because there will be always people who knows more than you, but there will be always people who know less than you. And you can provide value to those people. And you have to be authentic, because I see some people in social media, they perform and they do stuff, but then when they see you in person, you are a completely different person. So at the end, you will interact in person with someone or even online, but so it's important that your brand is coherent and you're authentic. And third point, and for me is like the most important on what separates good brands than just normal brands, is add value. Add value to your buyer persona. All the time when you're posting content, think, is this adding any value, or I'm just bragging? Is this adding any value, or I'm just explaining whatever I want? So always try to add value, because people like to receive value. It's like the principle of give and get. So first, make sure you give value to whoever you think you might help. And in the beginning, you can do things for free. You can do stuff just to figure out how to help, and you will see that it's like the snowball effect, that it will be growing, but always add value. Okay, so let's go to the questions. Also, like if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, you can do it. I'll be super happy. And also, like if you done your profile, I'll be super happy to check it out, because I'm always happy to see that I've been adding value to the people who's listening to me. And now, if you want, we'll go to questions. I don't know what time is it. Well, we're good. So
yeah, we've got a few minutes for questions. That's fine.
Fantastic.
Yeah, if anyone's got a question, feel free to pop it in the chat or just unmute yourself. Yeah, that was really interesting. I think the thing that I'm really going to take away from that is what you were saying around being authentic. And there's been a couple of comments as well in the chat around people saying about, you know, really connecting with people who are kind of authentic and show a bit of vulnerability and aren't, you know, that perfect shiny person that everyone thinks that they have to be. Yeah, I think that's really fascinating. It's
yeah, like
great.
Yeah, but at the end is what you will see. Like when now, if you have this in mind, like if you check content that has a lot of engagement, you sometimes it's because people show themselves they are not perfect, or show themselves they are vulnerable. Or a lot of influencers or people is they are showing themselves in the way they are in normal life, not just like everything perfect, because this way people they see they are normal as well. Because sometimes we think that these people there are not. So and people want to relate with other people who are the same with them. Obviously, like you reach a certain point, you can help them, but you have to show yourself vulnerable. Because this way people is like, okay, this person is normal, is not living in another level, and a lot of people you will see like the engagement you get in your content and the relations you can get, and being authentic as well. It's not like you have to pretend that you are imperfect or whatever. If not, like you have to be authentic and explain your real histories, explain your real thoughts, and you will see that that has an impact. More questions.
Yeah, thanks for all the getting lots of nice comments on the chat. If nobody has any questions, then I'm happy to chat for a couple of minutes. So
I have a question. I sent it private to Tony, but maybe you're not checking your private chat. And it's kind of good as well. It follows on from this question about being kind of vulnerable and authentic and all these sorts of things. So I have a concern, and I know another social entrepreneur in America with a similar problem, where we're not naturally soundbite people. We're kind of talkers and thinkers and move quite slowly, and it doesn't feel like that fits really well into social media. So I guess the question is, what kind of audiences, formats, and platforms are most suitable to people who don't express their point very rapidly, like I just did then?
Well, then what I would say, like, you can, or either you can do it by just writing. So this, in this way, you can write it down the first time, and you do like a second version that you try to go more to the point, and then a third version, and then once you got it, like you explain it, and at the end is something you can get practice, and it's not something you have to do in on live. But in the other side, I would suggest if you want to explore this and exploit this, you can do like podcast versions that is more like having a conversation, and some people can enjoy this about the topic you are talking to. Or the other thing is like you can do short, like the same way you can do text, you can do short videos that you can practice all over, and in order to go to the point. Because as you said, like, okay, the first time maybe I'm not going exactly to the point, but then you can reflect on that video. It's like, okay, what did I say, what do I do, and start creating like a structure that you have to follow for the next videos or for the next content, in order to make sure that you go to the point if that's something you want to fix or you want to improve. If not, I will say like long formats that you can talk, that and you can go into your ideas, that will be podcast.
Cool.
Speaking of podcasts, if anyone does want to listen to more information on this topic, we actually did do a podcast episode with Tony for our Uprise Academy podcast. So you can go and have a listen. We talk about loads of this kind of stuff. It's called Uprise Talks, and you can find it on Spotify and iTunes as well. And there's a ton of other episodes. We've just finished season 1. But yeah, find it. I think it's episode 2 that we did with Tony, and it was all about
personal. Have any questions? Because at the beginning everyone's like, oh, what's the difference of this? So like I did this well that nobody has questions. I don't believe this. Like, did somebody like, it's not a question about what I talk, it's something like, there is anything that you were expecting me to talk about that I didn't cover, or there is something specific to your case, like Lauren, that you have questions about? I did it, whatever, is that what you expected? I realize really shy.
I have a question. If people want to know more about sort of personal branding and these kinds of topics, do you have any resources or books or anything that you can recommend?
Yeah, there's a book that is called Contagious, I think, that I read it. It's quite interesting, but I think mostly is like go search specific bits in blog posts. That's what I do, or specific talks on YouTube about certain topics. I don't believe like one thing will give you the solution of everything, because also I have an online course, but it's in Spanish. I would say like there I explain everything, but the way I created the course is like based on my own experience, but also like just like checking a lot of blog posts, getting bits of marketing, and because at the end is like the same that is being doing for business. If you read about branding in general, not personal branding, and you think yourself as a product, because at the end you can be a product, you're a resource to companies, you can apply all the same stuff. So what I showed today, like proposition by persona, is marketing strategy. But at the end, it's like we have to see ourselves that we are a resource, that we help people, and not, or people who are looking for a job. I would say like you are not a beggar that you are begging for a job. You are a resource that you are adding value to a company, and they pay you in exchange to that. But we don't have to forget this. So we have to see yourself whenever we're creating brands, like as a company. Now doesn't mean you don't have to build your brand. You always can start building your brand, and having a brand, and I talk about LinkedIn, but other platforms, is super cool because it can open you a lot of doors. Like when you can reach whoever in LinkedIn, and if you have a good profile and a good brand, you generate content, people is really open to start talking to you because they see that you put some effort, and it's amazing. Well, actually I'm here because I reach to Steve, because I like their content. I reach them on Rise Academy, and we start chatting. And now I'm here after 5-6 months. So, and it started just like with a conversation saying, hey, I really like your profile. I really like the content you post. I would love to have a little chat with you. And we chat, we get to know, and you can generate a lot of opportunities and learn a lot. So I would say like, for instance, Lauren, like find some people that you can relate, or you think that you are similar. Reach to them, or reach to people who you admire. Reach to them and say, hey, if I'm myself in this situation, people love to talk about themselves, love to share their own experience, and more if you are willing to listen in a genuine way. So don't be afraid that reach to people. People is generous, and more now that is online and there's not a lot of commitment. Ask them for 5 minutes of their time and show that you are really reaching them and asking them just for just a little bit, and offer you, you will see like the magic of everything.
Awesome. Okay, I think we've got a couple more questions on the chat. I'm aware that it's 6:01, but maybe we can just do these 2 questions quickly, and then that will be it. So first question was from Frederick. Should I go through my Facebook history and erase?
Well, if you think that's not something you want to show to people, yes, and you cannot erase, you can like just hide and show it to yourself. Because at the end, it's like just creating your own content. It's like, okay, that if this is something that is not helping your brand, and you think like can just like don't make it public, just make it public to your contacts. And if it's even for your contacts, just make it public to you. At the end, it's like you have to choose. And as I say, like the Google exercise, you put your name is seen. And so it's the same. We have a business card, or when we go to the street a certain way because we want to make an impression to whoever, or that's our identity. So the same, if I go into Google and what I see there is not my identity or what I want, like I will fix it. So yes, that's
cool. I want to know what Frederick's been up to that he doesn't want us to see. And final question is, how broad can your personal brand be? Oh, hello.
Sorry. Okay, I think it got freeze. I don't know if it was me or you, but I can read it. So it's like, how broad can your personal brand be? I work on several projects, all slightly related, but very different companies, organizations. I know you have to niche down to start, but it's a breaking point if you have 2 rather than 1 project running. No, the thing is, it's not a breaking point having projects, because if they are like slightly related, you can create a storytelling about why you do both of them. So for instance, in my case, professional brand. And how I connect that is that at the end, I want people to work in companies they like, or to work in projects they like. So in order to do, people can find to work for.
You're breaking up a little bit, Tony.
People achieve that, or either run to achieve that goal. Sorry, I think probably is my connection. Are you listening me well or not?
It's just every now and again you just freeze a little bit.
Okay.
There's nothing you can do about it then.
Well, what I was saying is like you can create a storytelling different projects, and at the end you can explain that you are working in different projects. That's not a bad thing, but you are collaborating. The good thing is like why you are doing this and how you add value into this and how that helps your personal brand. But now if you are doing two completely different things that has no relation between, I would say like consider which social network is better for which goal, what is your buyer persona, and build your brand for each kind of project in different areas. And there's alternative to LinkedIn nowadays. Yes, there is a lot of alternatives. Like it does depend on who is you and where your buyer persona goes, spends their time. So if they use TikTok or they use Facebook or they use Instagram, go there. There's some certain professions that in LinkedIn is not the best way, and or creating your own personal website. So I think that you can combine LinkedIn with your own personal website. You can create a blog. You can create videos on YouTube. There's like a lot of different things that you can do. But I think LinkedIn for professionals is a really good platform that still can give you a lot of visibility in the content you can promote there, and you can reach anyone. Because I post a video in YouTube and I post a video in LinkedIn, and one I have in YouTube I have like 500 views, 200 views, and in LinkedIn I have 5,000, and they're both free. So LinkedIn right now is giving you a lot of visibility. That's why I like LinkedIn, because starting really small, you can have like a lot of visibility, a lot of contacts.
Tony, you're frozen. What's you?
And you
Oh, hello. Right, I think we've have we lost Tony? I think we've lost Tony. We finally lost him. Oh dear. Well, on that note, you gotta love Zoom in all its glory. Okay, well, on that note then, oh, is he back? Tony, are you back?
Yep, I think I'm back. I just changed the Wi-Fi really fast. I connect to the going to my phone, because if not, like it's not working. And so when I don't know if you get my message or not before about like
lost you a couple of minutes ago.
So the thing was like you can also you can find niche platforms depending on your sector and that you can go as well. I think that's complementary. Always you can have like your LinkedIn, your website, and then you can go find different niches. But at the end, you have to see, okay, my buyer persona, whenever they're gonna do a research on me, where are they gonna go? They're gonna go find a website on Google, or they're gonna go on LinkedIn, or they're gonna go on Instagram. So, and where is they spend the time? And if you don't know, you should ask them. Like, hey, where do you spend your time? Where do you go look for providers? Where do you go look for advice on? And they will give you the answer. Don't like try to assume. If not, like, oh, I go to events, or there's this platform really niche in my city, in the city that, and always is super important to be talking to your potential buyer persona, because they will give you a lot of insight of how to brand yourself, how to generate content, how to explain better your personal brand. And also, like, it's super interesting to have a mentor, if that is your buyer persona, but you can start collaborating with them, just like maybe for free, or maybe like whatever you find, but counting on them whatever you want to launch, whatever you want to do, and asking them their opinion before, so you can have like feedback from the person who will buy from you. But I think that's really interesting, always not to assume, if not asking directly to your customer.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you so much to Tony for hosting today's workshop, and thank you to everyone as well for joining. I really hope you found it useful and insightful, maybe made some new connections as well. Just quickly, one last thing before we all shoot off is a little bit of information about what we do if you need to shoot off. I know it's 6:10, so that's absolutely fine. But yeah, so at Uprise Academy, what we do is get the best of our generation, understanding what our purpose is and taking bold action towards it. So typically people that come on our programs do things like start their own companies, launch personal brands, or go and work for kind of purpose-driven startups to create more remarkable and meaningful lives and careers. So typically what we do is our signature non-MBA program, which is an immersive 3-month experience combining learning all of those skills in a select cohort with slow travel through places like Southeast Asia and South America. That's on hold at the moment, obviously, due to the COVID situation. And so at the moment, we're running a couple of virtual programs, one called Find Your Why and one called Zero to Launch. Find Your Why is all about finding your purpose, and Zero to Launch is all about launching an idea, whether that's a company, personal brand, whatever it might be. So what I will do is I will put a link in the chat to our homepage where you can find out more information about us and also the programs that we do, as well as there's a load of resources on there. As I mentioned, we've got a podcast as well that you can listen to that's obviously free, and we run these workshops as well. So hopefully we will see you at another workshop very soon. Also, if you want to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn, or send me an email. I'm just at katie@uprise.academy. So yeah, feel free to reach out and I'd love to hear from you. So on that note, yeah, thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day / evening, wherever you are.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
And hope you enjoy it. And good luck with your projects. Ciao, ciao.